and I have the pleasure of serving as the Diversity and Community Outreach Director for Care Access. I have a wealth of experience and history in the public health field, as well as a passion for health education and diversity and equity in every aspect. I am a firm believer that if you have had the privilege of being born, then you should have the privilege of having and living a healthy life by whatever godly means necessary. So I work towards that end, and I am happy to take my public health passion and expertise and experience and apply it to clinical research so that everyone can have one more access point for being able to stay healthy. We want to practice preventative behavior measures with regards to our health. But when those things don't necessarily pan out for us, it's good to know that we have other access points with potentially life-saving medications and opportunities in that way. So very happy to be here and very happy to be with Care Access and this wonderful partnership opportunity with Black everyone in clinical research. Thanks so much. And I'll turn it over to Ricky.
Thank you very much, Camille. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Ricky Kalia. I am a patient access lead at Care Access. My background and my passion is really preventative medicine and global medicine, and really doing international medical outreach. And the underlining commonality between all of these endeavors is providing access to healthcare to individuals and to communities that have traditionally not have had access. Very passionate about the type of work that we do, and excited to talk about that as we go into the webinar this evening. So, all right, with that, I will turn it over to Shaquanta.
Hello everyone. Shaquanta Elba here, talent acquisition partner, attraction partner, as we call it here at Care Access. I have a background in recruiting. I've recruited for major hospital corporations over the last, I won't date myself, I'll say 10 plus years. How about that? Been with Care Access since the end of November last year and loving every moment of it. Thank you so much for having me.
Great.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Ifeoma Iwago, and I'm a senior project manager here at Care. My background altogether has been about 12 years doing preclinical research, and then I started doing clinical research. One of the main drivers for me being in clinical research is just bringing care and drugs to people who do not have the best advantage. I also started doing this because I lost my dad to stroke at 17. And after he died, I felt like he was too young. He was in his 40s. And I felt like he didn't have the best available research that was on the market or drugs that could have saved his life. So I've been doing this for about 12 years now. And I joined Care as a senior project manager. So that is my background. And I'll hand it over to April.
Hello. Hi, can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. Hi, I'm April Robertson. I'm a clinical lead CRC here at Care Access. As far as my background, I am a registered nurse with mostly hospital-based nursing experience, but I got into clinical research about 4 or 5 years ago. I really enjoy working for Care. I love being out in the field, taking the research to the people that need it the most. And y'all will learn more about that as we go on into this webinar. Thank you, guys.
And at this time, we'll go through the agenda. So today we'll have our introductions, which we already had. Thank you all. Our organization overview, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, career options with Care, a day in the life of, question is a Q&A session at the end, and then we'll conclude this presentation.
All right. So let's kick things off with talking a little bit about who we are, about the type of work that we do, and why it all matters. Now, in terms of the work that we do, I'm going to provide a high-level overview, and we're going to use three different studies across three different therapeutic areas to talk about that. But I want to save some of the details with that for the Q&A. Okay, so in terms of who we are, so we're Care Access, and we're a decentralized research organization, and our vision is to accelerate the future of medicine for everyone. Now, how we're going to get there is by engaging every healthcare professional about clinical research, and specifically about making clinical trials a care option for every patient. Now, this last part is really key because when we look at the healthcare industry, most people do not look at clinical trials as a treatment option. I always love asking this question. In the United States, approximately what percentage of physicians do you guys think offer clinical trials as a healthcare service to their patients? If you guys can just throw something in the chat, I'm always curious to see what type of percentages people that throw out there. I see 5%, 30%. None. Yeah. So the actual number is close to 4 to 6%. So not a whole lot. And then if you look at where these services are actually being offered, most of the time they're at large academic medical centers, hospitals, and things of that nature, as opposed to really in the community setting. As an example, when we look at one of the therapeutic areas we work on is oncology, specifically breast cancer. The vast majority of cancers are treated in the community setting. However, when it comes to clinical research for breast cancer and for oncology in general, most of those services are offered in large academic medical centers where patients often have to drive hours or out of state and things of that nature. So us being a decentralized research organization, thank you, Ariel. So this allows us to actually operate as one giant site, research site that's all across the country. So the map that you see in front of us, so this is all the states and the regions that Care Access is currently in. And you can see on the right-hand side, the various therapeutic areas that we're also working in as well. Now, what I mean by in terms of us functioning as one big site, with this decentralized model, we're able to upregulate, downregulate staffing, resources, infrastructure support, trial management support, and things of that nature for a given site. And so there's if there is a study going on in Arizona, for example, and there's a certain demographic, and we really need to allocate more resources there, we can do that at a nationwide scale. And then we can actually jump into an example of that on the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to provide three examples of three different scenarios and three different studies that we've worked on in this decentralized model. The first one is so this is really what really set the stage for us as our organization, this study that we're getting ready to talk about. So this was a COVID study that we did at the height of the pandemic in 2020. We started this in the summer of 2020, and Ariel was with me on this study, and I know for me personally, this is an experience I will treasure for the rest of my life, because it was such an incredible experience at the height of, there were so many unknowns. I mean, everyone knows that everyone can rewind back to kind of April, May, June of 2020 and all the unknowns associated with that. But when we look back at that summer of 2020, the vast majority of deaths from associated with COVID, 42% of them were actually coming from long-term care facilities. If you look at long-term care facilities, nursing homes, and things of that nature, traditionally, those individuals never participate in clinical research. It's just so difficult to get people in and out of their facilities, appointments, and things of that nature. So there's a lot of people that are dying from COVID within these facilities that needed help, but they couldn't go anywhere. So that's where Care Access stepped in, and we activated these mobile jump teams, and we brought the research and the trials to them. We went to 99 long-term care facilities in 100 days, and that's part of the experience I will never forget. And we went everywhere in the country, from north, south, east, west, to urban areas, to, as Ariel can tell you, being surrounded by cornfields on each side. So not only were we providing these types of services to everyone, but we were really providing them to individuals that would have never had access to them if it wasn't for our decentralized mobile jump team model. And the last thing I want to say on this is, so like, this was a very different study in the sense that it was only 7 days. So if you see the second bullet point in here, how we supported the trial, pretty much how the study was designed was, there was a positive case at a nursing home. We got the green light, and then we had 48 hours to go activate 15 to 20 jump team members. And this is a team that you see on the right-hand side of the page. From research coordinators, sub-Is to RNs, and we got them all on planes and everything ready to go within 48 hours, get on site, and then spend the next 5 days recruiting and educating as many people as possible. And by this, we were actually able to enroll this entire study in a matter of months. So for the first time, at least for me personally, I was really able to see the impact of our work and actually bringing it to the people, and how quickly and efficiently we can actually enroll studies. Because traditionally, if you look at clinical research, it's all the same sponsors at the same location competing for the same patients at these large academic medical centers. Whereas in the community setting, it's completely wide open. So that is one example, and then let's go to our second example. So this is a major preventative Alzheimer's study that us as an organization that we're currently working on. So it's a large phase 3 trial looking at preventing Alzheimer's, and we're looking at the senior citizen community. Now, when we wanted to engage with these individuals, we realized that there's an entire network of 55 plus communities all across the country. And we started partnering with a number of these 55 plus communities, and started engaging with those almost pre-screened individuals in terms of their age, to talk about our services, provide those education in their communities themselves. And we followed that up by opening up our Care Access sites in close proximity to these communities. So these individuals, if they wanted to participate in it, they could jump in their golf cart, honestly, and come to our site. So the convenience was a big thing. So just for the sake of time, let's jump into our third example as well. So this is another therapeutic area. We mentioned breast cancer. So when it comes to clinical research and when it comes to representation, I think we can all agree that there's a lack of representation when it comes to clinical trials on the patient side, but it's also on the workforce side as well. Everything from the PI level all the way down to the entire spectrum, CRCs, patient educators, and things of that nature. So if you look at oncology in general, there's approximately about 13,000 oncologists throughout the country. And out of those 13,000, 1,000 are either Black, African-American, Hispanic, or Latin. So such a small percentage. And approximately 3% of oncologists are Black or African American, about 4.3% are Hispanic or Latinx. And out of those individuals, in terms of offering clinical trials, that percentage is even lower. So one of the things that us as an organization that we've really invested in is engaging with and empowering these individuals to offer these types of services to their communities. So, so for the sake of time, let's just go
Is it already ready
to the next slide. And
okay.
oh, I think I was just muted there. Ariel, can we go to the next slide? Okay. So this is our Care for Friends program. I'll talk about this a little bit more at the end in terms of details, but just wanted to highlight another approach that we're taking is when we look at clinical trials, it's really an empowerment in terms of being utilizing these services. And one of the ways we want to empower individuals is by incentivizing them to share these services and to also recruit patients as well. So just wanted to highlight that for the time being, and we can circle back to this and talk about this a little bit more towards the end. But with that, I will turn it over to Camille.
Camille, are you available?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
This is Camille. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So thank you, Ricky, for, I'll just repeat what I just said to myself. Thank you, Ricky, for sharing a little of the overview of CARE. There's so much to grasp, and we definitely want to touch on our referral program if time permits. But I also want to be mindful of time and give everyone an opportunity to talk about what it really looks like as in different positions in the day and the life of Care Access workforce. But I want to really, really focus just for a moment on why diversity in representation for clinical trials really matters. And the first and foremost reason is because we're all better when we have a little bit less of our own thinking or our own opinion of the way things should go. But then it gets even more personal in the realm of health. I mentioned that my background is in preventative health measures, and it was specific to chronic disease. That's the cardiovascular disease, the hypertension, all of the comorbidities, other things that can a lot of times attach itself, and people die from a multitude of things that started out as one, and then because the body gets so weakened and it's so susceptible to so many other chronic illnesses, it sometimes it's hard for a provider to be able to tell exactly what created someone's death. So being able to hone in on what type of medication would help someone to be able to be helped by help in the realm of the whatever they're suffering from is incredibly important. But one size doesn't fit all. Just because something works for one person doesn't mean it works for another person. Just because it works for one demographic, whether it be their age, whether it be their environment, whether it be their race, doesn't mean that everyone is going to respond to the same things the same way. No more than when someone has an opinion about something that everyone is going to agree with it. And this diversity in clinical trials specific to something like our example of hypertension is especially personal to me. I've had a very close family member who did not take the preventative measures of eating right and getting enough exercise, and they had to go on blood pressure medication. Well, wouldn't you know it, that the blood pressure medication, that I won't even call the name of it right now, they had a reaction to it. And the really interesting thing is that they had a reaction to it after being on it for a full year. It was an allergic reaction, and little did we know that it was one of those fine print situations where African Americans would have an adverse reaction that would cause bronchial tubes to expand. And by the time the individual knew what was going on, and it was maybe visible on the outside, they couldn't breathe. So the opportunity for them to even get the rescue help that they needed was so short that they didn't have an opportunity to even have to tell their story or to have their life saved. Now, the really, really fortunate, thank goodness, that my loved one did not pass. We were able to get them to the emergency room, but it was only when we got there that there happened to be someone who was triaging him that said, oh yeah, we know that African Americans can't take this blood pressure medication. It's just sometimes, we try it anyway. So just imagine if clinical research had involved more African Americans, and that information could have been made more widespread. So it really does come down to a life or death measure if we don't include diversity in clinical trials. Just that important. Secondly, I'd like to talk about why ensuring diversity in our clinical trials. Oh, I'm sorry, can we go to the next slide, Ariel? Okay, great. What I'd really like to hone in on is imagery. So we would probably not be telling a full truth if we said that, I just see everyone as the same. I accept everyone as the same. Even with the greatest intentions, we still are real people. We're human. We see what we see. We hear what we hear. We respond to experiences and people and atmospheres that are familiar to us, that are common and comfortable to us. Well, when you have a physician, for example, or any clinician that resembles someone that you are comfortable with and have been comfortable with and want to talk to more candidly than someone that you're not sure if they really understand where you're coming from or what your experiences have been, you're not going to be as candid and open. You want to be, you may have to work towards that, but it's not just a natural thing. That is one of the main reasons that at CareAccess, we want to make sure that our workforce, those who are trying to convince individuals about the life-saving opportunities that are available through clinical research, reflect the populations that we're reaching out to create that diverse environment. It's not an automatic, but I can tell you that CareAccess has hired people like me, like Ariel, like Ricky, and like some of the other voices that you will hear that are part of this initiative to make it more comfortable and more familiar for individuals who really will bring more accuracy to clinical research and save that many more lives. So I am trying really hard to be considerate of time. So I'm going to ask that we go to this next slide and that we watch this short clip of a video, and hopefully that will resonate with you, and then we can answer more questions at the end.
What excites me about this site in particular is the diversity in the community. Disease and illness is diverse, so we need to be more diverse and have a more broad perspective of what we're doing and how we're going to help those people.
What gives me hope is we have people from all over, not just all over the country, but all over the world. You know, we have a lot of people from, for example, Africa, Asia, that are in our department. They bring a whole new perspective. And that is what gives me hope, that, you know, we come from different backgrounds and we have different strengths, and we are all working together in providing the best possible education to our patients or volunteers.
So I want to thank all of you, and now I pass the torch to my colleague.
Thank you so much.
Take questions, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Camille, again for highlighting our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. We'll move forward with talking to Shaquanta about the career opportunities that's within CARE.
Great. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring in a folding chair. Shirley Chisholm. Wow, wow, wow. Danielle, to you and your incredible Black women and clinical research team, thank you.
I listen to you.
Thank you. Hi. Say it louder. I know that's right. Thank you for bringing so many seats to the table. I said it on LinkedIn last night. I'm just so thrilled to be here to see this whole movement unfold. So thank you guys for having me. Ariel, thank you for inviting me also. Again, I am Shaquanta Elba, Senior Talent Attraction Partner here at CARE Access. And I'm so very excited to present to you a few different career paths in clinical research that you may or may not be familiar with. A handful of our career opportunities we'll talk about, and shed a little bit more light on the ever so popular CRC, or Clinical Research Coordinator position. Very sought after opportunity there. Okay. CARE Access is a multidisciplinary workplace. I love that. I love that title. But did you know, if you have a background in real estate, social media, or even event planning, there is a place for you in clinical research. I did not know that, but there absolutely is. When I first started recruiting in clinical research, my very first position was CRC. I learned so much about this one little position and the versatility that comes with clinical research coordinators. You can do it remote from your home, anywhere in the world that you choose to. You can travel all over the country or other countries, and you can go to the traditional brick and mortar sites. Those are opportunities just with that one position. And also with clinical research coordinators, that one opportunity will open so many more opportunities for you to grow and learn and just be a part of the entire movement with clinical research. You could do study management. There's regulatory, there's QA, there's site selection, patient recruitment. And with patient recruitment, some of you may already know that takes on a life of its own. And there's so many other elements of patient recruitment that you can grow a very progressive career in. And I have a few, or maybe just two of the opportunities that I am recruiting for right now. And when you see things like digital community outreach and marketing, media, things like that, you think of social media influencers, right? So if there is someone who has a really strong community passion, a passion for community, passion for the people, and you do have an Instagram following or Snapchat or whatever, I have to talk to my teenagers about what's going on now, there is a place for you in clinical research. So let's see here. Where are we? Alrighty. So here are a few of the opportunities that I'm personally recruiting for. Care Access has teams of recruiters. We have executive recruiters. We have contract recruiters. We have myself and my team with 10 other recruiters, and we have so many different specialty areas that we work on personally. And I'll just take the regulatory manager for instance. You'll go on our website, careaccess/careers, and you'll see regulatory manager. But you'll also see that there is right now a regulatory assistant, a regulatory associate, and the regulatory manager. And right there is a great example of a progressive career path here with Care Access. And it's clear and it's present. And that is something that I'm very, very, very proud of, that just here in my little section, in my little recruitment section, I can present to all of you a path that you can see, a path that you can touch. You can see it right there. And that's very, very intriguing. There's also boot camp. It's really, really cool. It's Care Access. So we don't have a trademark yet, but it is a boot camp for us, for our internal employees. And it is a hybrid training program, and it's designed for our newly onboarding CRCs and our cross-trained CRCs to go in and you learn different competencies on how you can be successful and learn more and just be multifaceted in your CRC career path. There are 45 hours of essential knowledge for CRCs. It's mixed learning modules, online and in person. And then there's a certificate that you get at the end. And then down here, you'll see the critical components of the clinical trials. And you'll see it is informed consent, IBR submissions. I know you all know about that. Study visits, essential documents, safety reporting, monitoring visits, and inspections. And before I let you go, I want to share with you a video that I used to hire every CRC I hired last year and this year. It was something that helped me articulate what the day in the life of a travel CRC, which is really, really new to the industry. And I'm very proud to be able to say that as a recruitment technique, because a lot of people I talk to, they've never heard of a travel CRC. So to be a part of that type of innovation is mind-blowing. So yeah, I'm going to share this video with you guys, and I'll be back.
The jump team is just like a fire brigade. You are given a short notice to pack your bag and get going.
You really never know where you're going to go. You never know when you're going to go. And for most people to wrap their head around that can be stressful. Definitely like an adrenaline rush. You know, it's not a job. It's something more. You really have to put your heart in, and then everything kind of follows. It's lives. You know, these are people's lives.
We have clinical research coordinators with some kind of clinical training background and research experience. We have nurses. We have a whole team that will set up the site for us to conduct a clinical study at a facility somewhere in the country.
It's just like you don't have a fixed station. From state to state, from cities to villages, everywhere is your territory. And once you are called upon, you're expected to move out and be on a team.
You know, I believe the model that Care Access use is the future of the clinical research. I believe you're helping more people. Usually, everybody, it's a common place say that you are in the medical field to help people. I believe research is one of the very best ways to help people.
I really like the fact that we as a company are taking research to people that will normally not have access to it. We're doing that and we're making it possible.
You learn new developments every day. The management team is always open and always ready to communicate and to help out in whatever way they could. So that makes the job easy and small.
I absolutely love you know, I love the organization. I love working for CARE. You know, there's always help in every direction. If someone can't answer, you know, your questions, there's always someone that can. I love the people I work with here. It's just a fantastic group of people.
A young team, I believe, is a perfect definition of the team. I took this challenge because I think this will be the future of clinical research. This is history, and I enjoy being part of that.
When I go home from a jump, I feel like I've accomplished something, and I've added to the pool of medical knowledge about treating this terrible disease, and that gives me a great deal of satisfaction.
If you want to be part of something new and great, you need to be part of this. This is a very exciting adventure for me.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for your attention. Thank you, Danielle, for having us. And I will take a seat and let's start a day in the life. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks again, Shaquanta, for just bringing the vibe in. We're not going to have a day in the life. We have a few of our lovely team members to just give some highlight about what a day in their shoes looks like. We have a patient educator, senior project manager, and a clinical lead, clinical research coordinator.
Hello, everyone. Again, I am April, and I am a clinical lead, clinical research coordinator here at CARE. And a day in the life of clinical leads here at CARE really depends on the trial, the day, the jump, or the deployment, as we call them, which we'll get to in a second. So my roles and responsibilities include functioning as a supervisor for jump teams, and how big or small that team is just depends on what clinical trial we are working on at the moment. I'm also responsible for on-site clinical management, and my day-to-day can vary. So it can look like non-traditional research environments, like setting up in nursing homes for COVID trials, like Ricky was describing earlier, but they can also look the same as those traditional brick and mortar sites. So as leads, we're always checking in with our staff, our CRCs, lab coordinators, nurses, attending staff meetings, SIVs, and preparing for monitoring visits. But we are mainly on site to get to those patients. So we're consenting and performing venipunctures, EKGs, you know, just following protocols, processing blood samples and packing them and shipping them daily. So I know Shaquanta talked about hiring CRCs. I know for our department, when we are looking for new talent to join us, we love to see someone who has phlebotomy skills. We really need that with the big trial we're working on. Ricky also talked about the Alzheimer's trial that we're doing. Really, it's a lot of blood draws, so we really are looking for those phlebotomy skills and even some research experience, just because it can just be fast-paced during deployments. So with deployments, my pod manager actually assigns me to my deployment, which a CRC also would have a pod manager, and you'll get that assignment. Training associated with the deployment just comes to your email, which is my third topic about communication, which we'll get to. But we are always training and trying to get everything done so we can get on site and do our best work. We get our instructions, we reach out to travel, so that's part of, you know, getting out to your jump. You have to reach out to travel and kind of get everything working so we can get there by a certain day. Sometimes it is 24, 48 hours, but sometimes not. So it just varies on what we're working on. And most of all, we just really, the whole team uses a lot of Slack. I mean, and often we have lots of channels. We are always emailing each other back and forth, because even with non-traditional methods of getting this research to the people that need it the most, we have to stay in constant communication. So we are typically always on Zooms and Slack and sending emails back and forth. I personally love working for CARE. It has really changed my life. And I will let my next colleague go ahead and go. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. I'm really trying here. I do apologize. I'm actually in a car. I'm in an Uber, and I'm going to talk to you about patient education. And there is really no ambiguity to the title of the patient educator. This role we have like two different types of roles for a patient educator. It could be either remote or a travel patient educator. As a remote patient educator, what's nice about that role is the fact that you are really explaining and talking about the studies, various clinical trials with potential candidates and their families, from the comfort of your living room and also from the comfort of their living room. You allow them to ask questions, and it's endless questions that they may have regarding any clinical trial. And you can spend as much time as you need to get those questions answered, to allow those individuals to make informed decisions. And then with the role of a travel patient educator, that's when you're doing more boot on the ground type work. And those roles actually, you do more education, usually in a group setting, where you can go into various areas, nursing homes, or any, even events, and more in a group setting, present different clinical trials that are recruiting. You give more of a basic overview of the trial and allow those potential candidates or their families to ask questions. But what's great about being a travel patient educator is the fact that you know, those individuals on the ground can see what patient education looks like, face to face. So if they ever have any questions, they can reach out to one of our remote patient educators, and they know that they're talking to real people. With regards to everything that April stated, we do use a lot of communication. We communicate heavily for this study right now. We do talk a lot on Slack, and there are even times when we talk to different teams, and we can at times communicate with the CRC if a patient or a potential candidate, not patient, my apologies, is interested in the study. So there's a handoff process. But again, the patient education is usually almost the footstone for each of the studies, because that's where patients come in and they are, they get kind of the meat of everything. And we explain the study in layman's terms and spend the most time as possible giving each potential candidate and their families the most information. Again, Slack, emails, all of those things are crucial with these communications, because even at times we do communicate with potential candidates via email, where we would send at times additional information. We always advise that they, talk things over with their family. If it's a potential candidate and they, are still interested, but their family members don't know much about the study, we do encourage that they still, inform their family members and also inform their physicians for any study that they would like to participate in. So that's the life of a patient educator. And I will now hand this over to my another colleague.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ifeoma Iwawo, and I also just want to say I love working here at CARE. One of the reasons when I joined CARE, I didn't know a whole lot about CARE when I applied, but when I got the role, I was really happy to work here because the first thing I noticed working here at CARE is the amount of diversity that is in this company. I have had people, I see people that I work with that are from all parts of the world, different races and different nationalities, but really what makes me happy about working here is teamwork. If you work here, there's teamwork. People are here to support you in any way they can support you. There's no issues with hierarchy. Like if I'm in this position and you're in that position, like CARE it's not a company that supports those kind of things. So if you were to work here, you will notice that any little thing you do, we really appreciate it. So those are the main reasons I started working here. So teamwork is awesome, and I just love it. I've been here not that long, I would say, but I feel like the whole time I have been here, I am super happy, and I feel like I'm learning every day. My role as a senior project manager is actually to work with different departments, which I really, really love. So I will be told like patient access was one of the first departments I was paired with for a project, and they would tell me what they need. My job within that is to help them with their project in any way they see fit, streamlining whatever they need, and help them facilitate what they need. And then I also work with teams. So when I work with a department, sometimes they will tell me this department has an issue, can you help them? So first of all, I'll sit in on the meetings to go through what they're talking about, what is discussion, what do they need? When I'm able to identify what they need, then the next thing is for me to kind of create a plan that I feel like would help them with an improvement. With that plan, I will have that plan in place, then have that plan executed. Then at the end of the day, I would measure kind of like where they started and where they are now. But the long run for all the things I do for departments is just trying to make them become more effective, reduce their workload, and just make sure everybody is on the same page and everybody's operating effectively. So it's just, I say the biggest takeaway from me is that I never know what my day is going to be like from time to time. I finished one project with one department, I get assigned to the second department. I think right now I am working with 3 departments. I also am part of a project that we have going on for our AACM study, and I get to travel to different locations. I have been to Mesa, I have been to did I go to Miami? Fort Lauderdale, but I've been to different places in Florida. I'm currently in Florida right now, and I'm actually working with the on-ground team, which are our patient educators, our CSCs, basically, and I want you guys to know that those people are the reason that studies are held together. Without CSCs and our patient educators, the people who hold the ground down for us, I feel like those of us who work remotely at home wouldn't be as effective because they do the groundwork. So my job is to come in, have a discussion with them. I had a meeting today with some people in other departments, and I talked to them about what they felt was what they needed and what they felt what the issue was. So now that I've gotten feedback from them about what they think the issues are, my job now is just to take it from there and take those things they have told me and put them into effect. And I'm going to escalate some of the things they have told me up to upper leadership and bring it to upper leadership's awareness. And when they know what the problem is, then they can resolve those problems so that the people who are on ground, like the CSCs, the PE, the patient education, the operational side, are able to work effectively. So that's a day in my life. So thank you.
April, and Allison, I just want to thank you, all 3 of you out for just sharing a day in your life. I just want to piggyback off of Ify. It's the CRCs and the PEs who really get things started on the ground and really make us be more successful when we go out into these communities with these clinical trials. Up next is our Q&A session. So at this time, if you have any questions or any feedback or anything you'd like to address, I'm sure Danielle would like to take those questions and we'll try our best to answer them.
Yes, so if you have any questions, it's easier if you are to raise your hand, since there's so many of us. Would anyone like to ask a question? Okay, Siobhan?
Hi, thank you for having me. My question is, so I'm currently in patient access. So I've always been like registration, scheduling, insurance, things like that. I'm new to clinical research. I did not really know that much about it. How would I go about kind of, entering into something like this?
Thanks for your question, Siobhan. And I think Ricky or Camille will be great panelists to answer it.
Hi, it's Camille, and I was hoping that you would call on me, Ariel. So that's a great question, and I am using transferable skills. That's a coined term. I don't know who did it, but it really makes sense. When you know you have experience in a certain field or several different fields, and you're not really sure how to apply it to a current need. We know that the, what we call it, the baby boomer population is vast and it continues to grow, and we're all aging, and there's a real need for health professionals in all areas, and clinical research just happens to be one of them. So my personal experience having to really transition from never having done anything in the clinical research realm and taking my public health experience, I'm talking a couple decades here, where I just honed in. I would, if it was possible, I would say that public health and health education was a part of my DNA. Knowing that that's not actually true, I say that, I took what I knew best and I applied it to something that I'm just as passionate about. And the passion that I have is making sure that everyone has access to whatever's going to make them a healthier individual, whatever's going to give them more quality of life. And I had to pull from not just my CV, but also from everything that I had learned. And I am just finishing up my doctorate in health education. So I pulled from everything that I've learned personally, lived experiences. And I said, okay, so how can I be just as passionate in clinical research? And it was an exercise. It really was. I had to put it down on paper, and then that helped me to be able to articulate it better when I wanted to share that with someone else and to let them know that, hey, I have something to offer. And I didn't even know that's what I was doing when I interviewed for this position. It turns out that they heard something that I didn't even realize I was saying for myself, and it was a niche in care access. So hopefully that gives you some assurance that whatever you've done in the past, it can fit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see our next question. Stephanie?
Yes, sorry. My question is similar to hers, but particularly with patient educator. Can you tell me what are some of the qualifications for that role? And do you have anything open in the Raleigh area?
And I can kind of speak to this. I started off as a patient educator back in 2020. No clinical research experience, a public health practitioner, and a strong public health advocate. Again, I don't think Camille was wrong when she said those things like that is embedded in our DNA. I'm a certified health education specialist. That was one of the key points for me getting that role as a patient educator, but I don't believe that having those type of certifications or, those things like that would not determine you to be able to be in this field. Now, Shaquanza can tell you more about the availability of those roles and if we have anything available. And you can also check with on our website at www.careaccess.com/careers.
Thank you so much. And it sounds like I should qualify. I'm a registered nurse, so thank you so much.
Oh, yes, definitely.
We will find
Yeah, that's
someone
great
for
to
you,
hear because we
absolutely.
do have a few registered nurses on our team. So yeah, that's really good.
So got a question, just listening and knowing Stephanie's background. What other positions are available for someone that's a research nurse? Do you just recommend a patient educator, or are there other positions that she could look at or consider?
I'll give my tidbit on it. Remember when I told you guys there were like 3 different recruitment teams and all of these different specialties? I don't personally have that information on the nursing. We do have a nurse recruiter who recruits specifically for RNs and kind of places them in strategic places. Again, when I first started, I was recruiting for IP prep, and any nurse, LPN, RN, all nurses were welcome to join the team there, whether they've worked directly in clinical research or not, because their day-to-day knowledge and patient facing experience is what was needed. And of course, our other clinical folks were there to kind of pull the weight. But again, I would absolutely, I'll put my contact information in the chat. So if you guys have particular questions, we can kind of find out who that recruiter is together, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, thank you. Yes, please drop your LinkedIn URL, because I know a lot of times. Oh,
I'm sorry, just thank you all.
Oh, our pleasure. I know a lot of times your name here is not your real name on LinkedIn. So if you would like to connect with anyone, please drop your LinkedIn URL. So, and forgive me if I say your name incorrectly. I just saw it. It's like Nicole. Hold on. Sorry. Nicoloka. I don't know if she's still here. I just seen her hand.
Are you saying Nikki, Nikki?
No, it was a different lady, but go ahead, Nikki.
Hi, Danielle. I think you were trying to pronounce my name. I had lowered my hand just because they kind of touched on nurses a little bit. And I guess I was going to plan to reach out to Sharquanta about opportunities potentially for pharmacists and PharmDs, as far as like what opportunities Care Access might have. I've had the opportunity to kind of through the website and kind of look at the different job opportunities and skill sets. And like I think you said earlier, definitely a lot of transferable skills. But just wondering if you guys have pharmacists on your team that work in different roles with Care Access, and if anyone could speak to that as well.
And how do you say your name before we answer the question?
Oh, I just go by NK.
Okay.
So yes, NK, that will be one. I'm taking my notes here. That will be one of the things I send back to the team to find out where our pharmacists are going and who's recruiting for pharmacists. I do know that I've heard them in meetings and in passing that we are looking for pharmacists and pharmacy techs. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, Nikki Jones.
Yes. I'm actually outside walking my dog right now, so if you hear dogs bark, I'm sorry. But so I've been working in clinical research for the past 2 years. I made a turn from patients, I guess insurance or patient benefits around 2020, which is when I first got in research. But I feel like I'm kind of now like maybe like hitting a wall, whereas I'm getting a lot of just like, I guess, gravitation towards my resume because I have worked for good companies. But then now I feel like I don't know what to do because most of these jobs offers, they're trying to give to me, or the recruiters are trying to talked to me about, they are requiring a bachelor's, and at this moment I don't hold one. Currently I am in school for my degree, but I'm not going to get that until another like maybe 3 years later. And I'm very aware that my resume states that. So I'm trying to figure out, I guess, like what would be like the best, not entry level position, because I don't think I'm entry level. I've been a study coordinator. Also, I've been a clinical research assistant. So I feel like I should be applying for roles that are maybe aligned with maybe like a clinical trial assistant. I don't really know. And I would love to kind of like get more information. Like if I did apply for a role with you guys, I guess what should I be applying for? And also, is there anything I can be working on right now that's going to maybe like give me a higher chance at getting a role with you guys or a role at any company? And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing. Me trying to get clarity as far as like my route should this be a route I should be on right now, even applying for a role with you guys as a company.
Very good question. I appreciate it. And my answer to that is apply for whichever position you are passionate about. Because with us, we do understand education is key. And then, like you said, you are matriculating or you are in the process of getting your bachelor's degree. However, your on the ground experience is also very, very sought after. So I would say if you see a clinical trial position, look at the job description. If it says bachelor's degree or relevant work experience or equivalent work experience, apply for it. And especially for us, I wish I had a list of all of my positions, because that coachable and transferable skills, that is my lifeline, right? So if I see that your skills are better suited for another position, I'm calling you anyway, and we're talking through it, and I'm going to introduce to you what options are available on my desk. Or like I'm telling you guys now, we will put it in our chat, and whatever recruiter is looking for that role, if you have that experience, there's still a conversation to be had with you. So whatever position you see that you know you qualify for and you can do the work, don't let that bachelor's degree stop you from applying. Apply anyway.
Hello?
Oh, you missed it? That was good. That was really good, T. And you missed it.
No, I was listening, but I think the phone went out or her Wi-Fi went out.
Oh, okay. Just apply for that position. If it's the clinical trial assistant, that's what you feel that you're passionate about and you can do the work, apply for it anyway.
Well,
always
okay.
look for, I'm sorry.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this last question I had, so over the course of maybe last month, and also this month, I feel like I've reached out to 6 recruiters, sent them my resumes, they submitted me for like job interviews and whatnot, and it all came back the same as your experience looked good, but you know, you don't have a bachelor's right now. And I've been applying for like roles at UNC, places like that, and just like some like bigger companies like maybe PPD, Acuvia, things, I guess companies of that nature. And I don't know at this point. So I feel like maybe I should go do something temporarily to kind of like get in this field. And that's why I was kind of asking in my last question as well. Do you think I should do something like get a certificate of some type, like while I'm working towards my degree?
So marketing yourself with certificates, absolutely. And you know, anytime you get an opportunity, hey girl, anytime you get an opportunity to grow your skills and grow your experience, absolutely. But again, the first problem I think I heard is you were applying everywhere except Care Access. So that's the first problem. But yeah, I got my contact information in the chat. Let's spend some time talking a little bit about your background. Let's do some matching with our requirements and your background. And then you and I can have a bit more of a dialogue on what I think the best next steps should be.
Okay, that sounds good. I really do appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we have gone over our time, and let's see, we have everyone's information in the chat. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to Ariel, Ricky, Serquanta. Did everyone leave their information in the chat? Just want to probably leave this up so that everyone can share and network.
Hi,
That
this
is, I'm sorry, we
this
don't
is
have.
Camille.
Yes,
Yeah, you don't have Camille. I'm trying to get my LinkedIn password to put in. So I'll do that really quickly just before we sign off.
I can search you real quick and put your information up.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, thank you. I would love to connect.
Yes, or your email address, whichever one you prefer. I know some people aren't as active on LinkedIn.
So Camille, again, I am very active, but I have had to do quite a few workarounds to even get on this call today. So I have several different mediums that I'm trying to use just to be able to be heard and to talk to you. And it might just be easier for you to put it in. I don't have access to the chat right now.
Okay. Great, I'm just putting this up. And so I just want to thank Care Access again. I'm going to leave the chat up. I'm going to put in Camille's information so you can connect, and anyone else feel free to drop your information in the chat.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm not finding your name right now, Camille.
Oh, not there in mine. I'm searching.
Let's see, I tagged you, so here. I'm going from the tag.
So Danielle, I connected with you this morning, so I am definitely there.
Yes, I was saying when I type your name, like a lot of times when you go to LinkedIn and you type your name up, your name didn't automatically pop up. So that's what I have it now though.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you so much, Care Access. Thank you for the partnership. This was amazing. I learned new things about Care Access that I didn't even know that you guys were doing. I didn't know you guys had a boot camp. So everyone, yes, everyone needs to get on, because a lot of members in the group are always saying, I can't get into clinical research, and a lot of questions we have are people who don't have degrees. So I think a lot of times people count themselves out just because they've been rejected. But I really feel like Care Access definitely has people's best interest in mind, especially when you are trying to enter in the clinical research industry. I know a lot of times, like when you're getting rejected from other places, you kind of think like, okay, no one else is going to want me. But I'm so glad that Care Access has like a open policy where you look at the whole individual as far as their transferable skills, and like you don't put a cap on someone if they don't have, all these degrees or have a bachelor's degree in this, but, because a lot of times these positions are, okay, you need to have a degree in the sciences, or, so it is very comforting to know that you guys, it's in the name, I'm just thinking about it. You guys actually, care. So that is very important. So thank you so much again. It has been lovely, this whole process, and, putting this out there for the members. I know that this was great information. I can't wait to share it in the group, and hopefully if people missed it, they'll follow back up with us, and I'm gonna direct everyone to you guys. So especially the ones are saying I can't get in. So thank you again. Does anyone have any last final thoughts from Care Access?
I have a question. This is Bola. I used to work at Care Access 2021, but I had to leave for some reason. And I was trying to get back, but I couldn't. I was trying to come back in as a CRC, but then I know that obviously they always put like 3 years experience. And then I know I also applied or tried applying for like an assistant CRC position, but I couldn't get in to that too. So I don't know, like, do you have to have like 3 years experience to be a CRC? I miss Care Access, but my heart has always been there. Yes, I like where I'm working, but my heart has always still been at Care Access because I worked under Sarah. Sarah was my manager. So But my thing is, do you have to have like 3 years experience to come back in as a CRC? And I know Ariel also trained me. So, yeah.
I know we're over time, so please feel free to reach out to Sir Quanta. You know, I know, you know, we're 20 minutes over, so apologies for, you know, cutting your question short, but I really want to be conscious of everyone's time. So
yeah, and Bola, you have my information, so I just put it in the Slack box, so feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Okay.
So,
well, again, thank you,